All right. Welcome to the July 2024 edition of Easy Talks. I am the Erica, and this is my
And
SS.
Zendela Nat with high energy this month.
Yay! With all of the things that have transpired this last week, my SS and I felt very strongly that we were going to begin this month's Easy Talks, taking a moment of silence and honoring Miss Sonya Massey. So I am getting ready to light my candle. We're going to do 60 seconds, and we are just going to hold this space and be with her and lift her up and honoring her and just saying her name and just letting everyone know, like, we're here to talk about it. We're gonna shed light. We're gonna be here. Like, this is just so important from both of our hearts. So I'm gonna fire it up, light my candle. I mean, candle split. Set the timer and just like I said, take this moment for Miss Sonya. Ready, set, go. Thank you for that moment. So last week, um, the footage was released of Miss Sonia's murder. I know that it happened earlier in the month of July. And again, my SS and I, we just wanted to take a moment to just dialogue about mental health and mental wellness and well-being and wellness and navigating real life in real time. So, sis, do you want to start us off? Because I know we kind of got started before and we're like, let's go. Anything that you want to share to just kick us off?
I'll let you start it off, sis.
Okay,
Not I'll let
so
you. I'll offer you an opportunity to start it off. It's about the way you say what you say and how it could be misinterpreted. So that's a lesson and a correction for me. So I'll offer you an opportunity if you don't mind.
all right. For me, um, as someone who personally has spent more than half of my lifetime navigating mental health, this really touched me in such a deep way. Um, I think about the moments in time where I have lost all of my ish in public, and am clearly functioning from a space that was not wellness. And I think about this woman who was in her home and who called the authorities, because the authorities, the police, are here to serve and protect. And so she made a call, because she was concerned about some stuff going on outside of her home. And so, from a call that went from a place of seeking help to the last words that she was saying is, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, and then losing her life. First and foremost, I just would love to highlight that there is so much power in the name of Jesus. So much power. And just from I think what really touched me is I think about moments when I was unwell, And I think about moments where I was not functioning from a space of intention. I was not functioning from a space of the pause and of responding. And I was in straight reactive mode, just melting and just losing it and just not even fully aware. And then to see her like in her home where it wasn't any of that, and that her life was taken. I mean, literally like taken by the hands of those, again, who are taken oath to serve and protect. And my thing in this is I don't want to I don't want to lose sight of the fact that anyone who is in that space to do what they did to Miss Sonya, there's clearly another space of unwellness from that gentleman, from that individual, because to see it with my own eyes, and to, like, I'm not a trained officer, so I don't know what it's like to enter into someone's house and walk into the unknown. But I do believe that this is a space of when we choose to operate from a space of fear, or when we choose to operate from a space of love. And in this case, it seemed like fear had taken over, and fear was the head of this situation. And so I'm like, yeah, like I'm like, it moves me in such a deep way. And for me, like, it's just, I mean, it's a multi-layered experience, from the thoughts to the feelings, on both parties, on both sides, on just this whole world that we are living in. And for me, like, it really inspires me to continue to do my best to be well holistically, mind, body, spirit, soul, like, to do the practices that we talk about in Easy Talks, and that my sis Zenda Lynette talks about in her platform with TRC, and that I talk about in the Lighthouse Kalamazoo, because it's like, life is so precious and it can be gone just like that. And it can be gone from anybody, you know? And so, like, what does that mean to, like, really just, like, dig deep, deep, deep into taking care of oneself wholly and fully, on purpose, with purpose, and creating these intentional practices that we talk about.
As I listen to you talk and I think about the scenario, the importance of, I mean, because I don't want to spend too much time like talking on the scenario and all of that, but I need to talk about it in order to help make the point of when you call the police because you fear something is going on outside of your home. When he entered her home, he came in already agitated. So he
Mm-hmm.
didn't come in there from a stance of, based off of what I've read, what I've seen, and what transpired, he didn't come to protect and serve. He came in a different space. So that takes me to anybody in any career can be having a bad day. That's just the wrong field that you want to come in having a bad day. Clearly, something triggered him and it sent him on the edge. It could have been the way she looked. And I'm not saying black, it could have been a woman that she made reminded him of that hurt her. You just never know. But something happened and triggered and transpired with that young man that took her life when she called you to protect. So when you talk about the practices and the modalities and like knowing thyself and having the discernment, like if you shouldn't go in, don't go into work, especially in fields where you literally have someone's life in your hands. And it just makes me, sis, too, it makes me I sit in this point of gratitude to understand that I've learned myself and know that I too can get so upset that things can happen. No way am I equating it to what transpired, but it shows what can having control of yourself, control of your wellness, control of your well-being. It shows what that looks like and it's demonstrated compared to when somebody is completely out of whack. He approached the home aggravated because the boiling water, him being concerned about it. Why is that a concern when you're here to see what's going on with me? You should have had a notepad out. Ma'am, what happened? What noise did you hear? Anybody stalking you? You know what I mean? It was I think of a whole list of scenarios and things that should have happened, but
Right.
her life,
Right.
the beauty in I rebuke you in the name of Jesus that you knew she know Jesus, so she knows that she's in heaven because her family knows that they'll see her again for those that have that spiritual connection. Um, because it takes me to a place of my husband's younger brother, he was murdered. And one of the things because they never really because in some families you just didn't talk about it. He's like, Zinda, I don't know if my brother was saved. And I've heard other people say, like, I'm not sure. So it gives you the beauty of one or the knowledge of one to make sure you are spiritually in alignment right at all times. And then also to know that she's okay.
That
And
part.
and I pray for her family when we had our moment of silence. I did send love and light and light and love to her families that they can, just have the comfort that surpasses all understanding as they navigate this, because it's going to be a long, long battle. And depending on how this officer is actually treated, it's going to make a difference. The man who murdered my brother-in-law, he got off for insanity.
Mm.
So, and when you and then even from a mental health stance, when you talk about that, mental sanity is also that spiritual warfare in your head. You took a person's life. So, on top of the fact that you caused this situation, you imagine the mental warfare and the spiritual warfare going on in that man's head. So he can never, and even the person who his partner that was with him, to ask to go get your bag, but you're supposed to. I mean, a officer in like 911, that's all the same. So try to resuscitate. You know what I mean? And then the body, it just takes. I get lost in that because I get so tired of senseless killing. I get
Mm.
and really it's all connected to that mind, body, spirit, sis. It really is. And it takes us back to like we started. It's so important the work that you do to make sure that you're whole. And it makes me praise and again light and love and like a thought that maybe these the police departments will take more action as it pertains to giving their staff, their officers, more modalities and more practices. I mean, before you go out, come an hour before your shift. Let's do some meditation. Let's clear your mind. Have somebody on site to see. And I know that's going to increase budgets, but like realistically, we got to put some things in places to make sure that we have the right people in the right jobs. And this is a job you want to have the right person in. And if
Mm.
it may be some type of mini, review before they go out in the field to make sure that you're not agitated because people have bad days, but your bad day can't take a person's life. It's not right. You know? So it's something that needs to be done, period. But the way my mind works, I think about like just different, and that's again that age that manage enemy and just the trying to make sense out of it and how can we make sure this doesn't happen again. And it's like we gotta I've been speaking, not changing the subject, but in the same vein, you talk about wellness programs and wellness practices in professional environments. I've been getting looking for additional streams, so I'm back out in the market. And as I was applying for one of the positions, this company gave $600 for wellness and well-being practices, even down to shoes, for as part of their employee benefit package. When I
Wow.
saw that, and I don't want to say their name just because I don't want it to, but it was they're in Kalamazoo, and it was quite impressive when I saw that $600 on top of gym shoes.
Mm-hmm.
For so they're really pouring into their employees to make sure. But I think what we need to do as organizations is be more intentional about holding our associates accountable for utilizing those resources. I don't know what that looks like, but specifically for the law enforcement area, something has to be put in place so that they can make sure that these people are in good spaces. And when I tell you the practices work, meditation works, breath work, it works. Writing, if you know, before you go into your shift, even if that's at like a quiet time, like go write out what's ailing you. If you need to talk to somebody, you take some PTO or go get some help, because that young man clearly had something going on. Body cam wasn't on. So he wasn't even prepared to do his job from a protocol stance. I'm going to a scene, put on my, the body cam. Not, I just, so much can, but it's the pause, it's this understanding what's going on with yourself. And it really, that breaks my heart. It really does, especially when you realize, especially since I've been doing the work, you've been doing the work, sis, you're able to see the difference of in your being of what the work looks like when you
Right.
do go off kilter, and you may, you say something that's not so nice, or you get upset. Like, I mean, I'll just speak for myself. This weekend, I, something happened, and my initial response was I kind of got elevated. However, I hadn't done my Reiki. I got up and was like moving, and I didn't center myself enough in the day. And as I was in the midst of this conversation with my husband, and it wasn't an argument, but it was a passionate conversation that put me in that was triggered because I was frustrated, and frustrated sends me into my not self theme. And as I became frustrated, my voice elevated, that triggers him. So now it's a conversation that seems like it's way something way more important than it really is, because you're off. So I had an opportunity to I literally mid conversation, I said, you know what, it's not you, it's me. I'm going to stop talking right now because I'm becoming frustrated. And when I become frustrated, I'm not going to say what's for the highest healing is highest good. I'm not going to use my words impeccably. I literally need to pause right now, and we can revisit this conversation. So knowing to, but years ago, we've been married 25 years. At year one, two, three, four, maybe even 20, once the argument starts, it's smooth sailing. And the last word, it could be a door slammed, or it could just be ugly. But having that understanding of how I work, and wanting to be light, and it makes me pause. But it's because I've taken the intentional time, like, I guess being broken down the way God has broken me down. If you don't fall into that space, and like connect and begin to do the work and understand how everything is so divinely connected, you continue to go off kilter. And clearly, again, back to this officer, that something was wrong.
Hmm.
Maybe the word Jesus provoked him.
That
You know what
part.
I mean? And
That
as
part.
crazy as it sounds, when you say Jesus, some people, they don't like that.
And I
um
rebuke you in the name of
the name
Jesus.
of Jesus. So she said to, yeah, I mean, so you think about the power of those words. So he, you
She knew,
know,
and that's why I'm like, I believe, and this is one of the hardest things that one of the hardest places that I have worked to get to, because a person like me, I experienced a lot of childhood trauma. And for me, that was the hardest thing. Like, why is this happening to me? This, I don't care. And then there's wars, and there's stuff going on in the politics, and the people being killed by police officers. There's all of these things that are happening. Children being taken, human trafficking, domestic violent relationships. And I'm like, no, 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 something is wrong. You can't make this make sense. This is off. This is not okay.
yep,
Why? And so, again, this space that I have begun to cultivate is believing that there is a plan beyond what I can see. And
hmm,
we are not the only ones fired up by what happened with Miss Sonya.
right,
But this is one of the first times that I know of. He got charged. He got multiple charges. Like, they was not playing no games with him. They set an example when he got tried and charged, and like that, he did not walk away free. He lost his job. He got multiple counts. He got charged for murder for what he did to her. So I'm like, it is so sad that her life had to be taken. But the thing is her life, I believe, was not taken in vain. Her life means something. And because she lost her life, there are so many other things going on. There has been a ripple effect that
Yeah.
has been created because of what happened to her.
Yeah.
So that's a part too, like I'm beginning to see, because I always thought like faith was about believing that what I saw was going to happen or what I wanted was going to happen. And for me, faith has been totally remixed. Faith is not about my plan. Faith is knowing that when I see all of this happening with the human trafficking and people losing their lives and the wars and the stuff in the politics and all this darkness, faith is knowing that Doug's has a plan that is so grand, and that even though I don't understand and even though I can't see it, it does not mean that things are not happening for the
Right.
highest and the best for all. That is what faith is being. It's not like, oh, let me create this grand plan, and when everything's going my way, God is happy with me and I'm doing everything right. And when stuff is going wrong, oh God, and all this other devil, this, no, like
Mm-hmm.
it's all part of everything that we go through holds purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
then too, like the stuff that we create. So if I enter into a space with fear, I'm gonna move from that space of fear. And when I'm moving from a space of fear, anything can happen because it's
Mm-hmm.
more of that darkness and it's more of me not having faith. But when I can
Mm-hmm.
move in this space of love, when I can move in this space of heartbeat to heartbeat, knowing like whatever you got going on, you are still a child of the Most High. And when I
Mm-hmm.
can allow myself to tap into that, yes, you are saying these things. Yes, you are acting this way, but you were still handcrafted from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet by the Most High. And it ain't ever over until it's over. And if it is over, there's still a plan.
You
So,
must have been in my fulfillment hour this Sunday. Because he did Bird Shock to my day. He was like, regardless of who it is, no matter what it, God created us all. Even though I may not like you, you might be a horrible person. You're still, like you just said, is divinely created. You were hand sculpted and then, and this is what you got to know for a specific person, because everything is cause and effect. And because some people think, or I used to think, like, well, why can't they just understand? Well, why can't, if we all understood the same thing, if everybody believed the same thing, did the same thing, even though most people, even in our little spaces that they want us to be boxed in. So in some ways, we are domesticated as that. However, it's still enough space to give the individuality in there. But what would the world be like if that were the case? In no way am I saying what happened is okay. But as you stated, it's all a part of the greater plan.
yes,
Her life just set a precedent point
yes,
forward for another officer that takes a reckless and senseless act like that and takes a life. You're
mm-hmm.
going to prison.
That part,
Period. So
period.
her family has to suffer this loss, but understand she heard that action set the tone for a change in the world
Yes,
forever. And laws will be changed now. Policies will be changed now. And in that policy change, I pray that they add more of that wellness and well-being work in there. Yes, wellness and then well-being so that they can be hold your employees accountable. As you grow the Lighthouse Kalamazoo, your people are going to be in wellness and well-being spaces. As I grow TRC, it's going to be part of, we get those teams, and I'm sure it'll be like kind of all women in some kind of way. But we're going to make sure that we make time Part
Right.
of your employee evaluation is going to be mind, body, spirit check, morning check ins before you meet with clients, because what you do impacts everything. And to be true light love and to be true intentional, not true, intentional ripple effects, you have to be prepared and in a good headspace to do it.
Right. And
So it's going to be required. So, yeah.
that's the key, because even for me, like, you know, you said something earlier about you and your husband, and um, earlier this week, my husband and I, we were going through a really, really big rough patch, and like really rough.
Mhm.
And he sent me this message, and I was so upset by the message he sent me. But one of the things he said is, sometimes you can be unkind. And when he said that to me, my first reaction was, oh, all the times I am kind. But I realized, like, because then tonight, before he went to bed, we were watching 911. That's one of my shows, and we were dialoguing about some stuff going on with the characters. And um, in the conversation, I realized that for me, those moments when I'm so kind do not excuse the moments when I'm not. And for me, I realize, like, sometimes when I get triggered, I I literally, okay, no, I want to, let's, because this is easy talks, and we keep it real, raw, uncut. What sometimes will happen is, just keeping all the way 100, I might be like F a practice right now. Like, I'm upset. I ain't got time. I don't feel like it. I'm not whatever. And I just allow myself to go. And I'm like, and it's like something gets triggered in me, like you talked about,
Mhm.
sis. Like, I get triggered, and I allow the trigger to just take over. And now I'm in here, and I'm popping off, and I'm doing all of this, and my mouth is reckless, and my hands. And I will, even today, like, the work is that it's not as often, but I want to just keep it all the way real, and be like, sometimes I do, like, I will cut my mouth, and I will not be kind, and I'm like, F you, and I'm about to tell you about you, because I feel like something happened to me, or you didn't see me, you
Mhm.
treated me like I was less than you thought you could talk to me, and so now I gotta prove to you that I am not the Emma effer, and actually, if you want this, I will be happy to bring it to you. But then it's like, when it's all over, I'm like, F. Oh, and what the F did you, Erica?
Mhm.
No, no, no. And so for me, I'm like, I'm so grateful that my husband was willing to share his truth with me, even though it burned, and even though
Mhm.
it stung. And I'm grateful that I had time to marinate in it, because my thing is not be 90% kind and 10% right. I got the tats, or, so, excuse it, like, oh, well, because you said, because you did, because
Mhm.
you thought, that now gives me permission to nut up. No, like, my intention for real is, I always want to move with kindness. And the thing is I can't if I am not doing the practices. And so for me now, like I said, I've been doing the work, and I've been doing the work. And so now they're not as frequent. But the thing is like, I get this opportunity to look at the parts of me that still need a little TLC, and to be
Mhm.
willing to keep it real with me, and to stop excusing my behavior when it's convenient. Because the thing is I could nut up on the right person, just like I'm like, oh, you got the right one. I could nut up on the right one, and they could be triggered, and they could react. And then what am I about to do? When I'm a wife of an amazing man, I'm a mother of four amazing little people. But it's like, I get to do this work. I get to see
Mhm.
me wholly and fully, even in all the evolution. Like the evolution is great. Like I'm in the best space I ever been, and yet I still see this area here where it's like I get to keep going and I get to keep digging and I get to keep doing. So it's moments like today when I'm taking a nap and I hear people outside my window fighting. And so I'm thinking about this somatic yoga challenge that I've been doing. And the woman talked about this moment, this movement you can physically do to create joy, where you put your arms up and then you put your arms to the side and you do this and you breathe down and you breathe out. And it literally creates joy through movement. And so since I'm laying there, I'm not moving, but I'm doing it in my head. I'm
Mhm.
doing it like I can feel my body doing it, even though I'm in the bed laying down. Because it's like I know that those moments where I first feel that poke, if I ignore the poke, if I don't address the poke, and it's not just like, oh, I'm poked, act like that. No, no, no. I, whoa, I just got poked. What got poked? What's going on? Let's
Mhm.
be here. Let's keep it. Let's not, it's not just, oh, I'm good. No, I'm not good. And I won't get good or be good until I figure out what's going on. And then once I'm like, okay, this is what's triggered. Okay, cool. Now what can you do? And for me, it's even a practice of laying there doing the movement like in my being to
Mhm.
take care of me so that way when I wake up, I'm not as agitated because again, it's these little things that stack up and stack up and stack up that we're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, I'll worry about it later. Oh, I'll do my breathing at the scheduled time, or I'm good. It's not that big of a deal. No, 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 no. It is. So learning how to take care beyond the practices that are already built, these little
Mhm.
moments, like
Yep.
take care of you.
That takes me to, I was gonna say not to pub, but yes to pub. It takes me to the 3 point check, 3 pause check in my book. It's you have to center when you feel it at that moment. When I feel it at that moment, and like full transparency, this weekend, I probably like said, oh, I'll do it, and I'm okay. I had a full, it was a rough one, emotionally, and I was all in my head. Okay, this isn't working. Well, why isn't this working? Heck, I need to be working. It just all of the things literally broke down. Um, because I was in my head and I didn't take those moments because my grandma's in town. So, we spent some time with her, and I've been, so you know what, and this just came down for me. So one of the things that I'm gonna just take away without pontificating that is I was in a hermit space for such a while this year, for this year so far. And I'm reacquainting myself beyond my hermit schedule, which allowed for a lot of like a perpetual space of well-being, of breath work, of meditation, all of the modalities to, well, now I have other things beyond my home, right? And I'm sharing space with other people back at church physically and not hermit. However, I still honor the morning practices of my Reiki, my prayer, my meditation, setting my intentions. But this weekend showed me that I need to do something more. I need to
Mhm.
figure out another way or maybe increase that Reiki and do more hands-on instead of the guided. Um, because I allowed myself to get in my head super, super, super tough. I don't know if I digress, but that just really helped me because I even with the quickness and the frustration I felt when having a conversation, when I know I need to be impeccable with my words, when I know I don't need to take anything personal and don't make assumptions and all of the things. Somewhere, and I wasn't, it was, and I'm thinking it was that will center because I'm that solar plexus area because I have a lot of different things and I'm trying to stay true to my will, not get boxed back in and honor my purpose. So trying to navigate those and maintain that. So I need to do a little bit more work in my solar plexus. So if I digress, it's
This
my
no,
apologies.
It's fine. But for those who haven't ordered the Audacity to Be yet, can you please share what the 3-point pause is?
Yes, I will. Go to the page. I don't have the page memorized yet. The 3-point check is on page 44. And the 3 pause self check in. The first one is, what is causing the emotion, anger, worry, or frustration I'm feeling? And under it, it gives you more additional meaning for that. But number two is, what can I do in reason that is of the highest healing and highest good? Number three, what chakras are associated with the emotions and feelings I'm experiencing? The funny part is, I just said all of this. So clearly it's what I do. I didn't even realize. So, yes, but number one again, what is causing the emotion, anger, worry, or frustration I'm feeling? What can I do in reason that is of the highest healing and highest good? And the third is, what chakras are associated with the emotions and feelings I'm experiencing? And to some that may sound like, well, what is that? Da, da, da. But energy matters. That mind, body, spirit work, it matters. We are all, I feel that I'll speak for myself. I am a divinely, no, I'll speak for all because I believe this. Even though we can have different people or spiritual things that we believe in, we are all connected to something greater than us. And in order for me, in order to truly experience that connectivity, my mind has to be right. And that mind is right by just making sure all of that energy, those centers are intact. And you could say energy centers, or you could say um um just the whole, the spleen. You could use whatever terminology, but what your mind does impacts your entire body. From illnesses, it manifests in different ways, and it's so real to check in with yourself so you can show up wholly. When you talk about a rough patch, I'll say 30 years together, 25 years in marriage, you're going to have a rough patch. And we've experienced some lately. And my greatest understanding of it, you shared when your husband mentioned, sometimes you're not kind. As I reflected on holding myself accountable and like really looking at situations, just like understanding, like, am I putting more into it? Am I in my head? Am I making assumptions? Am I creating what came up for me, sis, are my shadow parts of ego, selfishness, control, because I'm uncomfortable where I am in life right now from a carnal eye of finances, because that matters. I mean, in reality, however, when I trust the process and I do my work, when I set my intentions, when I act through faith, God has literally met every need. And in the midst of it, sis, I wrote a third book. And this book is not like the other ones. It's something that um is transformative. That's the only word I'm going to use right now. But the work is for me, and it's what's helping me to understand, Z, you got frustrated, sis, or self, because of what you have going on. So now your will is being questioned. Your root, that security is out of whack. It's either it's stagnant energy, it's blocked, it's out of balance because I'm in a space I've never been before. So as I traverse this space, not knowing who I am now, being with the same person since I was 19, if I don't know, how the H do I expect him to understand and know how to navigate me as his wife?
Mm-hmm.
But ego is like, well, no, well, I'm his wife. He should just know we've been together this long, blah, 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 blah. And what kept coming up is, I'm not the same person. I'm not the same person I was. So if I'm not the same person and I'm learning and navigating in ways I never have before that are making me who I am, how can he really know that? He doesn't know. Because at one point I was so frustrated. I was like, he should just come in and hug me because I was like crying and just, feeling all the feels as life lives. But I made time. I brought let myself in my room and I felt every feeling that came up. I journaled, I prayed, I listened to gospel, I cried, and I was like, he didn't even come and hug me. He didn't need to come and hug me, which is another shadow part. I felt like I needed to be saved. That whole martyr. I didn't need to be saved. I needed to sit in my feelings and feel the feelings so that I could go inward to see what work I needed to do and to handle my own stuff. But the thought, the ego, right, to think that, well, he should come. For what? He probably like, what the hell is wrong with no, and then menopause too? So he all over the place. I'm all over the place, but I'm managing it, right? I'm practicing, I'm using the tools. Um, but he's like, what the he's probably I don't even want to assume what's going on in his head, but just that not that confidence, but that knowledge of it's me. It's me. So it's been interesting because that ego is something. And it took me really sitting and seeing, Cindy, that's ego, girl. Why does he have to do that for you? You know, because as I'm evolving and have evolved, he is too. And then, as couples, it's like being intentional about making that meet, on top of lifing and me being frustrated, like I have all these skills, I have all this experience, and why isn't it coming like now? But God is like, but Zinda, look at all the work that you've done. Not only did you lose almost 200 pounds, daughter of mine, you're healthy, mind, body, spirit, soul. You've done things you've never done before. I've met every one of your needs this whole time. Once you saw past yourself, once I got out of my head, once I started reframing those narratives about why, instead of why. Okay, God, what's the lesson in this? What do I need to learn? I'm going to sit here. I'm going to pause. I'm not going to be frustrated with my husband because I'm frustrated with myself in my current situation. I'm going to let ego go. I'm going to stop trying to control and I'm going to sit, not be quiet, but sit with an appropriate and a response of authority. Because sometimes that, like we talk about, that response is just simply to sit and listen and learn. But yeah. And it was so funny. At one point, I was like, I'm going to be impeccable with my words, so I'm not going to continue this conversation. And it sounds so um, like it's from it is from a book, but it sounds like it's so like I'm living like a scripted. But what I'll tell you, sis, where I am and how sometimes I navigate, it's not scripted, but it's intentional AF. Because as I'm saying to myself, I'm going to be impeccable with my word. Sometimes in conversation with my spouse in particular, if and I think even when we talk, not that we get into it, but like if we're talking about something and it's like not, I don't know how to say it where it's going to be, because what you speak out into the world, it has a ripple effect. Because once it leaves your mouth, it's out there. And I want to make sure that my words are impactful. So it's like, okay, I'm going to be impeccable with my word. And so, sharing with Maria, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything because I want to make sure that my words are impeccable. I want to make sure, that I'm being kind. So I'm going to just be quiet until I can express. So, and even being able to respond like, well, can we talk about it? Well, I'm really not in a good space to talk about it. Where old me and old him would have been like, well, what you mean? I said, I want to talk about it now. Having the discernment and the know, what is it? What word do I want to use? I'm going to say caring enough to know that the words that you say to the person you love are kind and are of the highest good for both of you and you individually. Um, that's the intent of it. So, because
That's
words
real.
hurt and words matter. And because this weekend in particular has been like, wow, because I really had time to reflect and like to see how as much as I've been in the work, as much of the work that I do daily, I believe, and this, I guess I'm saying this is because I'm gonna just say it, and it clearly is real. Is I was so caught up in doing the work that I lost focus of some of what was beyond myself. And what does that go back to? Selfishness. See how those shadow parts just kind of pleak in, because when I'm not like doing outright selfish things, like, well, I'm not going to do it because you don't see selfish, but that's also
Mhm.
selfish because I was so caught up and not caught, because there's nothing wrong with being the first to put me first. I'm going to continue to do that, but I'd been so focused on it that I didn't take the time to say care is maybe not the right word, but to give much attention to how he may be feeling. Like, who is this woman that I'm married to now? Not like I'm a stranger, but in a sense I am, because I'm not. We're both very different. And it's the wellness and well being that brought me to this point. But still creating the space and giving room for him to get to know who I am as I get to know who I am, and me to get to know who he is, and mesh that for the highest healing of our marriage and good of our marriage. So, wow, yeah.
Yeah, and my analogy has really become like take care of my side of the street before I get to looking at his side, because it's easy, and especially like for me, when I'm already off and I'm not fully aligned, it's so much easier to pick up on the other extraness that's not serving my highest and my best. And for me too,
Mhm.
like my two biggest things is getting caught up in here, and then like feeling like somebody has done something to me. You don't see me, you're not respecting me. You, if you blank, then you would do this to me, for me, whatever. And I'm
Mhm.
like having this opportunity, because I'm like, the more that I let go, like I will never ever forget sitting over here on my desk, probably about 3 years now, 3 years ago now, and throwing my hands up and being like, I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. Like, I don't know what the F is going on. I surrender. Because it's like I know that left up to just me, I'll F some stuff up real quick, getting lost in in when I'm not functioning from my meanness, from my innate, from my divine design. And so I'm like sharing this space with him, the stories, the thoughts. It can be, and especially somebody like me, I have an undefined head and I have an undefined ajna. So I'm taking in all this stuff on top of having my ajna undefined, which is where my beliefs are created. So it's like, well, this is what marriage is supposed to look like, and this is what love looks like. And then I'm on Instagram and I see all these couples and they're just everything's so fine, and he's doing this for her, and I'm like, well, my, my husband ain't doing that for me. And if he really, you like, and just all of this other stuff that's out there, or I see other people. So part of know thyself is knowing like your marriage is yours. You do you the way you want to do you, and y'all have, and I will never, like, I talk about that so often personally, but it's the same in marriage too. So I'm like, when I can pull it all back and focus on me, like, am I showing up loving all the time? Am I showing up kind all the time? Am I respecting his boundaries when he say, you know what, babe, I'm not ready to talk about this, but I'm fired up right now, and no, we about to talk about this now. No, that's not respecting his boundaries. Or when he says something to me and then I get in my head and I start creating a story around what he said. Or if he's not communicating with me, I get in my head, and because I'm thinking about past events and, well, when this happened, this was really what was going on, and all of that is not real. It's just stuff. It's just things that are out here. So again, when I can pull it back and be like, okay, what are you doing? How are you showing up? Don't focus on him and what he is and isn't doing. Focus on you and what you are and aren't doing. Because guess what, boo boo? You can't control what he is and isn't doing, anyways. You can control what you do, though. So even those questions about like why, I have totally reframed this. How is this happening for me right now? I believe personally, every moment is unfolding for my highest and my best. And when I get lost and when I get trapped and when I'm out of alignment and I'm triggered and I'm all of that, it's harder to see it. But like what you said, sis, it's now becoming a practice more and more and more that what can I do? How can I, like, what part can I play in this? Because again, I can't control you. I can't make you, it, them, the situation any different, but I can go to me. I can go to my thoughts. I can go to my design. Undefined, 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 defined in my G center, undefined in my ego, heart, will center, defined in my sacral, but undefined in my spleen, defined in my root, in my emotional solar plexus. So, okay, what does it mean for me? What is showing up for me? How am I out of alignment? What am I thinking? What am I processing? Am I feeling? Am I breathing? Like, those are things. So when he's doing something and I am taking it personal, okay, I might not be able to stop him from speaking. I might not be able to stop him from doing whatever he's doing, but I can control my breath. I can go inward. I can breathe. I can be mindful of what's going on in here, because it's not about controlling it. It's about controlling what I can control. And I can control whether or not I attach myself to a story. What is happening right here, right now, in the present moment? What is fact versus fiction? Fact is the exact things that are happening, not, oh, well, he did that, because that's not fact, or, well, he said this, so he meant, that's not fact. None of that is fact. So if I am choosing to attach to that because I'm already turned up now, so I'm just looking for something else to add more fuel to my fire, that's a choice. So I get to own that. I get to honor that. Oh, so, and sometimes, sis, I gotta keep it real, but oh, you want to be mad, huh? Is this what you want right now? Because this is what you're doing. And so then when
Right.
you talk about that mind body connection, that's what I feel like for me, I was missing for so long, because I was like, let me just work up here. Let me get my mindset right. Let me do all these positive affirmations and my mantras and my positive thinking. All that's cool. But if I'm not doing the work in here in my body, then I'm just doing all this mind work that's just spinning. But it's
Yep.
intention. Like, I get to cultivate the relationship for my mind and my body to work together. So when my husband doing this other extraness and I'm replaying and I'm thinking about this conversation and it's done, no. I get to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because what if I don't? I'm planting the seed for the next time. I'm
Yep.
planting the seed for more frustration. Instead, I'm like, I see us good. I see us, like, even in the midst of the storm, I get to
Right.
choose what I see and what I focus my time and my energy and my attention on and in, because in every moment I'm planting a seed and I'm planting a seed. So if I'm ruminating in the mess and then more mess is happening, that is on me.
Yep.
Versus, no. I see us good. I see him. I see, like, at the end of the day, there's a little child inside of him. There's a little Gerard. And I want to learn how
Yeah.
to build relationship with him, because when my
Yeah.
husband is acting any type of way, I can, because of what I know, because of my work, I can see that person inside of him. I can choose to show up kind to that little boy, just like I can choose to show up for that little girl. And can I create this space where our two little people can learn to share space and build relationship, even though we two big old adults acting in any type of way. Like there
Right.
is so much power. And that's why, like, even the whole embrace your power mentally, embrace your power physically, embrace your power emotionally and spiritually, because there's so much power that we hold. But if we are not aware of the true power that we have, and we say, oh, you should do this and you should do that, and God, I want you. No, 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 no. God empowered us. He is inside
Right.
of me. I am a
Right.
living representation of him. So I get to choose. And if I choose to act from this place of triggered and effort and all of that, then guess what? That is a choice, and I'm going to have to deal with what the aftermath that happens. And for me, I don't want that no more. Like, I want a loving relationship, and I don't want to just be treated like no doggone queen. You, no, I get to treat you like a king too. I get
Yeah.
to sow into you. I get to give to you. I get to see and cast this vision of what it is that I want for our kingdom, for what we're building. And so it's
Yeah.
like that's the power that I have, even in these moments when you act in some type of way that I truly don't care for. I get to choose to see you.
Sis, when you talk about your open ajna and you talk about the emotional solar plexus, for those that are going to watch this, where can they get that information? Like, how do they get to find out about their human design? How can they connect with you for that and embrace your power? You mentioned that. Can you elaborate a little bit, please, and share your
Oh,
information?
thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you would like for me to be your teacher, you can go to www.thelighthouseKalamazoo.com. And there's so many different offerings that I have on there, from divine design readings, which is like a human design reading, or the Embrace Your Power journey, which is a 3-month journey, just going inward and beginning to understand yourself and learning how to navigate real life, like real life happenings. That that is everything. And then two, like if you just want to pull up your report, the place that I specifically use is called Genetic Matrix. That's GeneticMatrix.com. Genetic Matrix. It is a free site where you can pull a report and just begin to get that information. And my thing too is like, shoot me a DM. Like, I'm cool with it. I'll answer your questions. We can share space. Like, if you just want to know different things, like, I'm here for it. Like, this is such a journey of unlearning and unbecoming while also learning and becoming. It's at both ends. So yeah, you can feel free, like I said, to hit me up. And if you just want a dialogue, like, let's do it. You know, you have questions, but there's so much information out there. I've shared my teachers in the past: Emma Dunwoody, Leah McLeod, Eden Carpenter. Those are just three, but there's a lot of people out here doing such good work. And my main thing is know yourself, love yourself, honor yourself. And again, there's so much noise out here with this
Mm.
personal development and this course and this study and learn this to get this. And my thing is, I want you to get you. The
Yep.
money is nice, the title is nice, the certification is nice, all of that is nice, but I want you to know you so you can navigate, just like my SS and I have been talking about. Like, who are you though? Not who anybody else told you to be, or you saw this IG post about, this is the way to mommy, this is the way to wife, this is the way to life. No, what's your way?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and even what you were talking about with the shadow, sis, like that is one of the biggest gifts. Your human design, literally, you're made up of the shadows and the gifts. Like, there's beauty in the darkness, and the only way you get to the gift is through your willingness to get in your shadow. Like,
Yeah.
we're so scared, and that's that fear piece. Like, we don't have to be scared of the darkness, because the thing is the light will always prevail. It will always prevail. But if you don't know your darkness, you don't know the magnitude of your light. And it's like we get to know that the human design, there's each of them, there is also that shadow to understand. Like you named off so many of one of my biggest with my 42 being in my son is expectations. Every
Mm,
time I set an expectation, I set myself up for failure because it's not
mhm.
about expecting this result. I can manifest, I can dream, but when I get to, I expect to do this and then this will happen, or, all of the, like, this is the way it's going to be. No. And that's why for me, again, me, because our shadows are different. My sun gate is not my SS's sun gate. But the thing is, it's like now that I know me, that day that I sat here and I threw my arms up, the surrender was one of the biggest things I could have ever done for me. Because daily, and not even daily all the time, sometimes weekly, but I'm like, I get to remember to surrender. It's not me,
Mhm.
it's not my plan for my life. I got this 5-year plan and this is all. No, use me. Use me as I want to be a vessel of the Most High. I feel like I got an assignment to just shine light on the Most High's people. So who am I? Lead me, Doug. Show me the way. I would rather be where you want me to be than where I think I should be.
Yeah.
And that's for me. And that's why I'm like, it's all different. It's not like be like Zenda Lynette or be like Erica. No, be you, but you can't be you if you don't really know you.
Yeah. That's real. That's real. Wow. And I'll just share my human design teacher guru, and that's Erica L. Brown. You can follow her on Instagram at, go there now. Pardon me not being prepared, but hey, follow my sis. Actually, it's the Lighthouse Kalamazoo for your human design reports. The link is in the chat. Embrace your power and schedule time to go into your report is there. Or just for questions regarding human design and just to share space with the DM, Erica Lynn, LYNN_Bloom inWord. So I know you said it's not about the money. It's not about the money, but it's also about using your innate gift, which is my own natural energy yield, which is your own natural energy yield, which is your gift of human design. Because sis, I will tell you, um, it has literally been pivotal in my well-being and wellness plan and work, and having the humility, which is one of my self themes, when I can be humble and not controlling. It's a game changer for how you navigate, not just in your marriage, as a mother, in workspaces, as an entrepreneur, everywhere. I mean, I'll give an example today. So I went to church. My grandma's in town, and of course, when she's here, I go. But um, I'm going anyway, so I didn't even just say that. But we went. My husband went with me, and he was like, "Well, I'm not going to fulfillment hour. I'm leaving right after church. I'll come back and pick you up." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I was surprised he went with me because he hadn't been going. No shade, but he hadn't. And when we left my aunt's house yesterday, she was like, "Okay, Mario, I'll see you in the morning." And my grandma was like, "Okay, I'll see you in the morning, Mario." And he was like, "Yes, ma'am, I'll see you in the morning." So he was up for 8 o'clock service too. So like the fact that he went, cool. So when he said, and Pastor Moore was like, "Now y'all don't leave. Y'all come to fulfillment hour. Don't go home, blah, blah, blah." Mario was like, "Okay, babe, I'll see you later." He went, talked to Pastor Moore, all that. So we're in the fellowship hall and I'm grabbing breakfast in line to get breakfast. And he's walking towards the door. And in my mind, I'm like, God, I really wish you would say I think we'd have fun in fulfillment hour. This class is kind of fun. So I looked over, and now keep in mind, when I looked before, he was heading towards the door at the opposite end of the fellowship hall. Before I made it to the serving area, I looked and he was sitting down at the table. Mario was. So I was able to get breakfast for the both of us. So I took his breakfast over to him. I didn't say, "Oh, you should stay." I didn't say, "Well, why? I don't understand. You're here. You're going to come back and get me." Now, and I'm saying that from a stance of old me, full transparency, because I'd have been like, "Well, that just doesn't make sense. Were you here? Pastor Moore just said blah blah blah." but respecting his boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
honoring what he said he was going to do because that's his choice and who am I to control? Because old me again would have been like, well, just I don't, What he said, I respected it. I did say, God, it would be nice if you stayed. But God being God, he stayed anyway. We had
Mm-hmm.
breakfast together. We had good conversation and with other members. And it was me not controlling, again, not controlling the situation, not taking it personal that he didn't want to stay, not making assumptions, and all of, let my ego like, well, none of
Mm.
that. It was a simple, okay, cool.
That part.
So, and that's from me having understanding of my design
Mm-hmm.
and not respond, not responding, responding when it's appropriate with authority when appropriate, but not initiating the conversation of, well,
Yep.
why aren't you? Well, why? Well, I fell back, honored him, honored myself, because had I said something, I would have caused it's self-suffering, right? Self-imposed suffering. I would have had an attitude for what? Because he
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to do something. It's his choice. But
Right.
again, this is me recognizing what was instead of what is and what
Mm-hmm.
I choose to co-create and curate for our marriage. And it worked out anyway. And we had breakfast together.
Right.
And we went to fulfillment hour together. And the topic was forgiveness.
That part.
Forgiveness. Forgiveness. The conversation, I felt like it was not felt like, I know it was all divine.
Mm-hmm.
And all I had to do was what? Follow my design and not initiate anything and just respond when appropriate and just be and get spiritually fed.
Hey.
So I'm like, yeah, couldn't. It was awesome. It was awesome. So,
Well,
yeah.
I don't. What did we say after that, SS?
All I want to say is quick things because I am setting the intention for to do better with my sis and I for the work that we do because we do quite a bit of work in the wellness space. We've already talked about Embrace Your Power, which you can find information on www.thelighthouseKalamazoo.com. You can also find my sis's book, Bloom and Word, and also going to give a nugget. Yes, this is a book of poetry, a poetic journey of finding purpose in pain. And my sis wrote this book for her. But what I will share with you all is that these are amazing journaling prompts. As you read the poem, as you feel led, I've been following as we go along on Talk About It Thursdays, which is also at 111 with my sis. I've been following that way and using them as prompts. But I also have just gone, the process of change has been one that I've been really um, just sitting in, and that's on page 17 and doing a lot. That went in rabbit hole to just do some journaling prompts. So this book is really good for journaling prompts as well. And then I'm also going to share um, Amazon. You can get this on Amazon. And then I'm
What
also
you
going to
about
share
to
my,
share now, sis?
hey, you so funny. The Audacity to Be, which is a nice little pocketbook that you can take with you. And it's some intimate shares about my personal journey of life and flow, life by human design. And there's also some wellness and well-being practices, as well as Reiki meditations and practices and some chakra education in there. You can get this on Amazon for $7.77. And again, both books are on Amazon. So don't hesitate to, and also follow me on Zinda_Lynette and Thomas Rose Consulting. And that's all I
Oh,
have to
wait.
say,
I'm
sis.
sorry. Before you go, isn't there a Reiki, YouTube Reiki channel?
Yes, if you go to Zendelin at my YouTube channel, you will have, there's actually three sessions. One of them is a sneak peek of what's to come with women and wellness, so much more, but it's touch, movement, and visualization, a little clip of that. And then there's also a heart chakra activation and just a Reiki cleanse. You can also schedule a Reiki cleanse with me too. My link is in the bio and Linktree on Instagram.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you all
We
so
did it.
much. Yes,
Yes.
for joining us for this July 2024 edition of Easy Talks. just thank you for being here. Thank you for holding this space. Thank you for supporting us. If there's anything that you feel that really resonates, we would love to hear from you. Please comment, please like, please share. And if there's something where you like, you know what, I just would love to hear y'all thoughts on this topic, share it with us, please. And we will definitely take note and feel into it. We are both emotional authorities, so we don't answer immediately. Just give us a little bit of time to link in. But this is a this is not just about us. This is for us as a whole. So we want to hear what you have to say. We want your feedback. We can't do this without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And until August, y'all, enjoy the gift of today.
Yeah.